Archangel Michael says, "Today, heaven has been stirred to speak because someone close to you has tried to warn you about a presence whose name begins with the letter M, and that warning carries more weight than you can imagine, for it holds divine significance that must not be overlooked, no matter how ordinary it may seem. The Lord is gentle, yet his urgencies are never without purpose." This message was not meant to arrive to your eyes by coincidence. You are reading it now because God, in his mercy, arranged for this very moment. Someone around you, knowingly or unknowingly, has already spoken something about a person whose name begins with M. Whether it was a whisper in a conversation, a sudden mention, a strange feeling, or an inner stirring, that moment was not random. Heaven saw that encounter, and it triggered a series of spiritual events that have now reached their peak. Let me take you back for a moment, to when your spirit first felt that something was wrong, but you could not explain it. That sense of unease, that subtle discomfort around a certain situation or individual, it was not just emotion, it was discernment. That discernment was a gift from God, awakening you to something deeper than what your eyes could see. Sometimes, God does not shout, he whispers in the silence and nudges our souls softly, hoping we will respond before the thunder must come. Right now, that warning is being repeated by divine authority. There is someone whose name begins with M, and though they may walk with a smile, carry charm, or appear kind, their energy has not aligned with the light that God surrounds you with. You are a vessel of purpose. The Lord has woven a destiny so powerful over your life, and this person, knowingly or unknowingly, is becoming a vessel of distraction, or worse, destruction. This is not about anger. This is not about hatred. This is not about judgment. This is about protection, divine, unconditional, holy protection. The same protection that wrapped the cradle of Jesus in the cold of Bethlehem, the same protection that silenced the storm over the Sea of Galilee, is now being poured over you because God sees the hidden things you cannot see. The person whose name begins with M is not your enemy by birth, but their choices, their alignments, their intentions, seen and unseen, are not in your favor. The Lord is calling you not to panic, but to listen, to observe, to pull back the curtain of appearances and discern with the Spirit He placed within you. God does not reveal to scare you, He reveals to prepare you. And preparation is key now. Because this moment is about more than protection. It is also about elevation. Something tremendous is on the edge of your destiny, something you have prayed for when no one saw your tears. That promise, that miracle, that change is close. But this person, this M, is like a thread sewn by the enemy into the final garment of your blessing, hoping to unravel the whole piece. And heaven will not allow that to happen, not now, not after all you've survived. Type 1313 to affirm strength through the Lord. Comment Amen if you can feel this stirring in your spirit. You see, every time you felt delayed, every time you felt drained, confused, or burdened after a conversation, an encounter, or a memory involving this person, it was not just emotional fatigue. It was your soul fighting to stay pure, your spirit resisting a misalignment. Heaven saw your effort to stay kind, to stay forgiving, to stay loving, but now God is saying it's time to create space, not out of hate, but out of obedience. There are blessings God has lined up for your name, but those blessings cannot rest in confusion, fear, or double-hearted connections. There are doors prepared to open for you, but God will not allow those doors to swing wide until your hands are free to receive, and your heart is unburdened by attachments that dim your light. Do not take this message as accusation, take it as divine instruction. You don't need to scream. You don't need to make noise. You don't even need to explain. Just align yourself with the peace that surpasses all understanding. Begin to step back, gently, spiritually, prayerfully. Begin to release, not out of spite, but out of trust in what God sees beyond what your eyes can comprehend. The reason God is speaking now is because timing is urgent. Your next season is not months away, it is forming now. And if you do not release this presence from the center of your emotional circle, it will confuse the blueprint God has drawn for you. And that delay may cost you more than time, it may cost you alignment. So listen carefully. Be still. Reflect deeply. And move with grace, but move decisively. The warning was given. The confirmation is here. The responsibility to act is now in your hands, and heaven stands ready to reward your obedience. Click the heart if you're still reading and your spirit knows this message was sent for you alone. You may feel love toward this person. You may have shared laughter, memories, moments. But there comes a time when love must not confuse loyalty with destiny. God never asked you to carry burdens disguised as friendships. He never asked you to hold hands with people who are silently envying your rise. He never asked you to build your future on foundations cracked by manipulation, subtle deceit, or emotional control. This may not even be fully aware of how their presence is affecting you. And yet, heaven sees the motives. Heaven sees the jealous glances when you celebrate. Heaven hears the unsaid words spoken behind your back. Heaven watches the energy shift when you start winning. And heaven will no longer allow you to be surrounded by those who secretly hope for your downfall while pretending to be allies. Comment, I receive this, if you're choosing peace over confusion. Because you are about to enter a season of clarity. A season where the fog lifts. A season where love feels safe again. A season where you wake up with joy, not anxiety. A season where your heart is no longer a battlefield, but a sanctuary. What if everything you've been chasing, wealth, freedom, success, could be drawn to you automatically, simply by unlocking a secret brain wave hidden inside you? Once classified by intelligence agencies, this discovery is now available to the public, and it's changing lives instantly. Picture yourself debt-free, stress-free, and thriving. Click the link in video description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency and watch abundance flow into your life today. Type 1111 if you agree. You are not losing anything. You are being refined. You are not being punished. You are being promoted. And every tear you cried when you felt misunderstood, doubted, or dismissed, God has kept each one. And from those tears, He is forming rivers of blessing, ready to pour over you once this distraction is removed. You may be tempted to doubt the message, to question whether it really matters, to brush it aside as just another thought in your mind. But let me gently remind you that God has been whispering to you for far longer than you've realized. The signs have been around you, in your peace disturbed after certain conversations, in the way your spirit tightens around this person, in the way your energy fades after being near them. These are not just emotional tides. These are spiritual indicators. Sometimes, God allows us to feel discomfort not to punish us, but to awaken us. The person whose name begins with M may have once walked with you in love, in friendship, or even in shared dreams. But over time, not all spirits grow in the same direction. Some get drawn into darker places, into envy, into manipulation, into comparison, or into confusion. And though you may still see the same face and hear the same voice, the spirit behind it has shifted, and God is showing you that now because your elevation cannot be shared with someone who silently resents the light you're walking into. God has waited until now to reveal this fully because He needed you to be strong enough to hear it without letting it break you. He wanted you to reach a place of maturity where your decisions are not driven by fear of loneliness but by the promise of purpose. You've carried too many people who weren't meant for the mountain you're climbing. And though your heart is wide, not all company is holy. You have been called to peace, not confusion. You have been chosen for healing, not constant emotional draining. You have been marked for purpose, not manipulation disguised as connection. This message is not just to alert you, it is to heal you. Comment, "Yes, Lord," if your heart is opening to this truth. Think back on the times you shrank yourself to avoid triggering this person. The moments you hid your good news, fearing their reaction. The times you apologized for your success, dimmed your hope, or even felt guilty for the joy God gave you. That is not love. That is bondage. And heaven is cutting the cords of that bondage today. There is something sacred about choosing yourself when God asks you to. There is something holy about trusting the whisper of heaven over the noise of emotions. This M has been allowed to take up space in your heart long enough, and while God honors your compassion, He will not allow that compassion to destroy your direction. Sometimes, people we love become roadblocks not because they are evil, but because they are not aligned with where God is leading us. They may still speak kindness, still offer support, but the root of their presence is no longer life-giving, it has become draining. And if you allow that to remain, your future will become entangled in emotional knots that heaven never intended. Type Amen if you believe. Click the heart if you're still reading and your soul is being stirred gently. Heaven wants to realign you with people who celebrate your calling, not compete with it. With voices that speak truth, not confusion. With hearts that lift you in prayer, not pull you into drama. You deserve that, not because you are perfect, but because God is faithful. And when God calls you to move, it's not to leave behind people, it's to step into His promise. This person whose name begins with M may try to re-enter your life again and again, wearing different masks: apology, memory, nostalgia. But you must remember that spiritual freedom requires spiritual discipline. Just because someone apologizes does not mean they are assigned to your next chapter. Just because you shared a history does not mean you are required to share a future. Your heart may ache in the beginning. That is part of healing. But in a short time, peace will rise. Joy will return. And you will feel lighter, more focused, more grounded, more alive. Because when obedience meets revelation, it always brings restoration. Comment, "I trust you, God," if you're letting go to make space for what's coming. You are not being asked to hate this person. You are not being told to curse them. You are being called to set them free from the place they were never meant to occupy in your life. You are being asked to trust God enough to believe that when He removes, He always replaces with better. Your spirit has been too silent for too long. You've swallowed your tears in private, questioning why peace was so hard to find. And now the answer is here: that person was not meant to walk beside your destiny. They were only meant to be part of the journey for a season. That season is ending now, and a new one begins. You are crossing over into a chapter where your faith will be honored, your prayers will be answered, and your tears will be turned into oil for anointing. But before you step forward, you must shut this old door gently, without noise, without anger, but with divine grace. Heaven is standing beside you. I am standing beside you. And the Lord is speaking this not to hurt you, but to save you. You are seen, you are known, and you are being led into peace beyond your understanding. The journey of release is rarely quiet in the beginning. It stirs up memories, echoes of laughter, glimpses of moments that once felt safe. But don't mistake memory for destiny. What was once right for you may now be the very thing that is delaying your breakthrough. The person whose name begins with M may have brought light once, but seasons change, and what once warmed your path may now be dimming your view. God has watched every time you tried to justify their place in your life. You told yourself they needed more time. You convinced yourself they would change. You accepted less than you deserved because your heart is compassionate, your love is loyal, and your soul has always been patient. What if the fastest path to wealth was already inside your mind, waiting to be activated by a powerful sound wave? Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it begins drawing opportunities, success, and financial freedom like never before. Imagine the relief of no more bills and the joy of living your dreams. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on this ancient brain wave today. Type 1818 to claim miracles. But now heaven is saying, it is not your assignment to fix someone who chooses to remain broken when healing has been offered to them. You are not the Savior. You are the chosen. Comment, "I understand now," if your heart is beginning to feel lighter with every word. There is something sacred about walking away from what is no longer aligned with your destiny. It is not abandonment. It is not betrayal. It is protection, for your heart, your mind, your spirit, and the future that God has tenderly carved with your name etched into every detail. When you obey, even through tears, heaven moves mountains in your favor. You have already begun to feel it, haven't you? That subtle lifting of the heaviness. That flicker of clarity in your chest. That deep, quiet strength rising like a whisper inside of you. That's not you being cold. That's you stepping into alignment. God has seen the invisible battles you've fought just to keep your peace. You've stayed silent in moments when you should have spoken. You've given grace even when it hurt. You've stayed loyal in situations that emptied you slowly. But the Lord is now saying, enough. He did not create you to survive by shrinking. He created you to rise, to shine, and to reflect His glory fully and freely. The person with the name beginning with M was a chapter, but not the whole book. They were a thread, not the tapestry. And even if you shared dreams, hopes, or plans, those things were not authored by heaven. They were imagined by a heart trying to love faithfully, but now God is writing a new vision for your life, and this time, it will not include confusion. Click the heart if you're ready to receive what comes after obedience. This is the part where it gets hard, but holy. You may feel lonely at first. That's natural. The absence of familiar noise often feels like silence, but it's actually space. Space for new voices. Space for divine connections. Space for joy without fear. Space for peace that doesn't cost your mental health. And in that space, God will meet you like never before. You will begin to feel things you forgot were possible, like waking up without dread, like resting without overthinking, like smiling without pretending. You will remember who you were before you were drained. You will remember the promises that have waited patiently for you to make room for them. This separation is not loss. It is gain. It is growth. It is the pruning before the blooming. The Lord never removes unless He's ready to replace. And what is coming will not bring tears to your pillow or confusion to your spirit. It will bring clarity, joy, support, and divine companionship that lifts you instead of weighs you down. Comment, "I'm letting go," if you are releasing this with grace and surrender. And remember this, you do not owe everyone access just because you carry love for them in your heart. Some people are meant to be loved from afar. Some are meant to be released in love. You are not cold for stepping away. You are wise. You are obedient. You are protected. Type 999 if you trust Jesus. When the Lord speaks with this level of clarity, it is because your next season is already being written, and you are just one act of obedience away from stepping into it fully. The same God who gave you the strength to endure will now give you the strength to walk away. And not just walk away, but walk into something divine, a new beginning untouched by manipulation, untouched by silent jealousy, untouched by hidden agendas. The person whose name begins with M may still linger in your thoughts. That's part of the unraveling. When you've shared emotional space with someone, detaching from them is not like flipping a switch. But hear this, every thought, every memory, every aching reminder is being gently lifted by angels even now. You are not walking through this alone. You are not expected to carry the pain in silence. You are being comforted, guided, and strengthened, moment by moment, breath by breath. God is not disappointed in how long it took you to see the truth. He celebrates that you saw it at all. Some people live their entire lives entangled in unhealthy spiritual attachments, never finding the courage to release them. But you have chosen truth, and truth always sets free the heart that is willing to receive it. This is your divine reset. A cleansing of your path. A spiritual detox from voices that never truly spoke life into you. And though it may feel like a loss now, soon you will realize it was an upgrade. Because when God removes, He doesn't leave emptiness behind. He makes room for divine overflow. Comment, "Thank you, Jesus," if you're receiving this shift with open hands and a trusting heart. You may have noticed lately that your prayers have felt different. Shorter, perhaps. Less desperate. That's not because you've given up, it's because your spirit is growing stronger. What once required you to cry out now only needs a whisper, because heaven is moving faster now. You are entering a season where God will answer quickly, show up suddenly, and heal silently without spectacle. And part of that acceleration required the removal of that person. This person whose name begins with M may reach out again. They may send a message, call, try to reopen the door God already closed. But you must remember this: peace is the proof of alignment. If their presence makes you question your worth, doubt your direction, or dim your light, that is not peace. That is your warning. What if you could unlock a secret brain wave that top scientists discovered inside the hippocampus, the very switch that signals wealth and abundance? Hidden from the public for decades, this breakthrough can rewire your mind to attract prosperity faster than you imagined. Picture the stress of bills replaced with financial freedom and new opportunities. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate this ancient money wave and step into abundance today. Type 2323 if you trust in God. God does not speak to hurt you, He speaks to restore what has been delayed. You may not see all the reasons now. You may still wrestle with memories. But soon, God will show you things that were hidden. Words spoken behind your back. Motives masked by false kindness. Manipulations dressed as concern. And when He does, you'll thank Him for ending what you tried so hard to hold on to. Click the heart if you're still here and ready for God's next instruction. Let this be the season where you stop second-guessing what your soul already knows. You don't need 10 confirmations when peace has already spoken. You don't need signs from the sky when the ache in your spirit has already revealed the truth. God is not the author of confusion. He is the composer of calm, and you are about to step into stillness like never before. You'll begin to see it in the small things, the way your chest feels lighter in the morning, the way joy returns without effort, the way your energy begins to rise. That is the evidence of spiritual detachment from what once oppressed you. That's how you know God is not only healing your heart, He is restoring your entire life. Comment, I choose peace, if you're closing the door with gratitude and moving forward with grace. You were not made to carry dead weight. You were not made to stay bound to people who drain you spiritually, emotionally, or mentally. You were made to soar, and every chain, every tether, every tie that held you low is being broken now. Even your sleep will shift. Your dreams will become clearer. Your spirit will begin to rest deeply again. Because confusion steals rest, and you've lived in that cloud long enough. The person whose name begins with M will no longer have access to your peace, your mind, or your emotional space. That chapter is sealed. And what's ahead is breathtaking. New friendships that don't feel heavy. Conversations that uplift instead of unravel. Moments of laughter that don't carry the aftertaste of guilt or manipulation. Opportunities that align with your purpose, not distract from it. And love, deep, holy, peaceful love, that honors who you are, not what you can offer. God has waited patiently for you to walk into this. And now that you've begun, He's about to release favor in places you thought were forgotten. The delays are being reversed. The tears are being exchanged for joy. The silence is being filled with divine instruction. You are no longer wandering. You are walking in purpose. Stay close to the voice of God now. Stay still in His presence. Let Him fill every space that was once occupied by what you released. You will not regret this obedience. It will become the most liberating, healing, and divinely rewarded decision you've ever made. You must understand this with the deepest conviction. Obedience always unlocks reward, but not the kind the world chases. Not the fleeting applause or temporary comfort. The reward of obedience is peace that stays. It's healing that touches not just your present but your future. It's blessings that rest, not chase. And above all, it is closeness with God that no storm can shake. Type 555 to receive miracles. The person whose name begins with M was not just a person. They became a symbol. A symbol of everything you've outgrown spiritually, emotionally, and even mentally. What was once aligned with your season is no longer aligned with your soul. You are not the same person you were when you first met them. You are being transformed, beautifully, silently, and permanently. Heaven has marked this moment as a divine milestone in your story. It is being written not in sorrow but in light. It's the part of your life where you will look back and say, that's when everything changed. That's when the fog lifted. That's when joy returned. That's when your soul finally breathed. Comment, this is my turning point, if you feel the weight of this moment. I want to remind you of something gentle and powerful. God is not asking you to harden your heart. He is asking you to protect it. There is a difference. Protecting your heart does not mean closing it. It means guarding it with wisdom so it can remain soft in the right places and strong in the wrong ones. It means not allowing your compassion to become a gateway for chaos. You are not walking away in bitterness. You are walking away in wholeness. And because of that, your next season will not look like your last. It will be marked by peace. You will no longer feel like you're always apologizing for who you are, or hiding your light to avoid offense. You will begin to live freely, speak freely, and breathe without the silent pressure of pretending. Click the heart if your spirit is already tasting this new freedom. The person with the M may still occupy space in your memory, but memories don't equal purpose. Let them pass. Let the images fade gently. Do not cling to the version of them that existed before you knew better. You are not bound to memories. You are anchored to the promise of your future. You'll begin to notice the shift in divine timing. Things that were delayed will suddenly begin to move. Prayers that sat unanswered will be fulfilled in ways you didn't expect. That's not coincidence, that's clarity creating access. Sometimes God doesn't hold back the blessing, He holds it just beyond reach until you let go of what would poison it once received. The blessing He is about to release over your life requires purity of heart, peace of mind, and space in your spirit, and that's why He had to speak now. You were too close to your promise to carry interference into it. Comment, "I'm ready for more," if your heart is opening wide for what's next. This season will bring divine surprises. New voices. New alignments. People who pray for you without asking anything in return. Doors that open without striving. Conversations that pour life into you. Places where your spirit feels at home. And God will confirm each step with peace, not just the absence of noise, but the deep calm that cannot be explained. What if a simple 7-minute sound frequency could awaken a forgotten brain signal designed to pull wealth toward you like a magnet? Backed by shocking CIA files and neuroscience, this discovery is now changing lives everywhere. Think of debts melting away, promotions arriving, and abundance flowing freely. Click the link in video description and comments below to experience the hidden wealth wave and let your financial destiny shift in your favor today. Type "yes" to affirm. You are not behind. You are right on time. Every delay had purpose. Even the pain taught you something heaven will now use. God wastes nothing. Even what the enemy meant for harm has become fertilizer for your growth. You are stronger now. You are wiser now. And most importantly, you are finally free. Free from emotional manipulation. Free from cycles of self-doubt. Free from always being the one to carry others while no one carried you. You are free, and that freedom was paid for by the mercy of God, who saw your silent suffering and could not allow it to continue any longer. Your spirit is being rebuilt in the light. And soon, others will look at you and not understand the peace that surrounds you. But you will. Because you'll know what you let go of. You'll know what you walked away from. And you'll know that the cost of obedience is always outweighed by the reward of alignment. So rest now. Let this part of your journey settle in your spirit. The hard part is over. The door has been shut. And the wind of heaven is blowing behind your back, pushing you gently into the next chapter. You see, beloved, every time your heart felt torn between loyalty and peace, between staying and surrendering, heaven was watching. Every time you gave the benefit of the doubt, swallowed your own hurt, made excuses for what your spirit was already weary from, the angels recorded it all. Nothing you endured was in vain. Every ache was noted. Every prayer, even the ones you whispered with trembling lips and tear-filled eyes, has been stored in a chamber of mercy that now overflows into your life. And now, because you listened, not just with your ears but with your soul, the reward is beginning. But it's not the kind of reward the world can see right away. This reward begins in the unseen, in the places within you that have felt fractured, drained, confused, or delayed. Heaven is restoring your inner world first, because when peace floods the soul, everything else begins to align in perfect timing. Comment, Heaven, I'm listening, if your spirit feels this quiet movement inside. The person whose name begins with M might have once been your comfort zone. They may have felt like home, like familiarity, like safety wrapped in shared memories. But comfort zones often become cages when God is calling you higher. That is what this was, not rejection, but redirection. Not abandonment, but protection. God saw what you could not. He heard what was said when you weren't around. He saw the energy that shifted when your blessings began to unfold. And yet, He did not rush you. He waited, with patience deeper than oceans, until your heart was ready to let go, not because of pain, but because of clarity. This is the holy release. And now, as you breathe lighter and walk freer, your life is becoming fertile ground again. The weeds of confusion have been pulled. The roots of emotional exhaustion have been cut. The soil of your spirit is being watered with new promises, fresh joy, and divine understanding. Type 777 if you walk by faith. Click the heart if you feel something inside you beginning to glow again. You will no longer confuse toxicity with loyalty. You will no longer call chaos complicated love. You will no longer call your exhaustion commitment. The veil is off. You are seeing clearly now, and because of that, what's coming will not resemble what you left. It will look like mornings where your heart is light, where your thoughts don't race, where your emotions don't collapse under the weight of another person's inconsistency. It will feel like walking into rooms and not scanning for safety, because peace walks in with you. It will feel like being able to share your joy without shrinking, your success without guilt, your light without apology. Comment, I receive that peace, if this is the kind of freedom your heart has longed for. And do you know what's even more beautiful? God is not just healing you, He is rewarding you. The space you've now created will not stay empty. It will be filled with better relationships that reflect Christ's gentleness. Friendships that sharpen your faith instead of draining your mind. Opportunities that bring both provision and peace. Love that doesn't confuse your spirit but sings in harmony with your purpose. This person, whose name begins with M, may have been a mirror for your past, but God is now placing before you a window into your future. And through that window, light pours in. Possibility begins to breathe again. Hope stretches its arms and returns like sunlight after years of storm. Your identity is no longer tied to that relationship. You are not defined by how they saw you, how they treated you, or how they misused the access you gave from a place of love. You are not bound to the shadows of that connection anymore. You are a child of divine promise, clothed in worthiness, wrapped in purpose, and surrounded by angels who have warred in silence for your soul to reach this point. You may still feel moments of ache, the quiet ache that lingers like a shadow where someone once stood. That is normal. That is human. But it will not last. The ache is not a sign you've made the wrong decision, it is the final echo of an old chapter closing. Every time that ache rises, heaven is right beside you, wrapping your spirit with the reassurance that you did not walk away, you were led away. And anything God leads you away from, He always replaces with better, safer, purer, and more aligned. You were never meant to carry the weight of spiritual disconnection in the name of love. You were never created to suffer silently so that someone else's presence could remain undisturbed. The person whose name begins with M served a chapter, but now that chapter has closed with mercy. And what's ahead will make that mercy feel like the most beautiful gift you've ever received. Comment, "I'm not going back," if your spirit is firmly planted in this decision. What if the missing piece to financial success wasn't luck, but a hidden frequency inside your brain waiting to be switched on? Once activated, this ancient signal unleashes waves of prosperity, opening doors to opportunities you never thought possible. From sudden windfalls to long-awaited breakthroughs, it's transforming lives daily. Want to see how? Click the link in the video description and comments below to tap into the Money Magnet brain wave and begin your journey today. Type 333 to welcome blessings. There are seasons where God whispers. There are seasons where He waits. And then, there are moments, rare, holy moments, when He speaks clearly, decisively, and prophetically. This is one of those moments. He is not whispering anymore. He is declaring over you. No more delay. No more distractions. No more divided loyalties. My child is moving forward. And forward you shall go. You will notice how the air begins to feel different around you. How your mind feels quieter. How your emotions begin to settle. This is peace returning. Not because circumstances are perfect, but because the spiritual interference has been removed. You are finally standing on clear ground, and from here, everything begins to grow. Click the heart if you feel something sacred rising in your heart even now. He is going back to every place that was wounded by that connection and applying healing that doesn't just numb, it renews. He's restoring your ability to trust again. To believe again. To receive love again without suspicion, fear, or guardedness. He is reintroducing you to who you were before the emotional depletion. And He is filling you with something better than what you lost. He is filling you with Himself. Comment, I'm being made whole, if you feel your soul responding to these words. Let this be a turning point so profound that you never look back with regret, only with gratitude. Gratitude that you loved purely. That you gave honestly. That you hoped sincerely. Even when it didn't turn out the way your heart envisioned. You did your part. And now God is doing His. Heaven is not calling you to carry shame. Heaven is not calling you to bitterness. Heaven is calling you to clarity. This was never about cutting someone off in anger, this was about releasing someone in peace. And because of that peace, your hands are now free to receive what was always yours but could never find you while you were entangled. There are new doors swinging open for you. Doors to places where you will be understood without having to explain yourself. Doors to rooms where your spirit will be valued without having to earn your place. Doors to relationships where your heart will rest instead of wrestle. These doors are not coming, they are here. Your obedience has already begun to unlock them. You are stepping into divine timing, where things will begin to make sense, not in the mind, but in the soul. You'll look around and realize that everything you released was necessary, because everything you're about to receive is holy. And what's holy cannot coexist with what's harmful. Type 1212 if you believe God is guiding you. So breathe now. Deeply. Slowly. Let this moment settle in your bones. You are free. You are chosen. You are rising. And you are being led, not by fear, not by impulse, but by the gentle, faithful hand of a God who has never stopped watching over you. This is no longer about the person whose name begins with M. That chapter has served its purpose. That thread has unraveled. That weight has been lifted. What lies ahead is not a life that looks the same without them. What lies ahead is a life that looks better because of what God has now made room for. You have stepped out of the shadows of uncertainty and into the morning light of clarity, and this light will follow you into every decision, every door, and every new connection. You may still feel the occasional ache when memories rise, but those memories will no longer hold power over your choices. The emotions will pass like a wind, no longer able to uproot the peace God has now planted. You are not bound to what you released. You are free to walk forward without guilt, without second-guessing, and without delay. Comment, I'm walking into light, if you feel the gentle confirmation settling in your spirit. Heaven is not only restoring, it is rebuilding. But this time, the rebuilding won't happen in secret. God is about to make public what He has been forming quietly within you. People who once dismissed your silence will witness the fruit of your surrender. Those who overlooked your pain will now see the strength in your peace. And even the enemy will have to watch as God uses the very things meant to break you to now bless you. Everything is being rewritten, not just externally, but deeply, from the inside out. Your mindset is shifting. Your discernment is sharpening. Your spiritual sensitivity is increasing. What once confused you now makes sense. What once drained you now repels you. That is growth. That is spiritual maturity. That is the evidence that heaven's hand is upon you. Click the heart if you feel that inner transformation already starting to bloom. And here is what's even more glorious. Because you surrendered what was misaligned, you will no longer attract people who only understand you in fragments. The next season of relationships will look different. They will not take from you what they refuse to return. They will not question your light. They will not shrink from your growth. They will speak peace into your purpose. They will pray when you cannot. They will understand your silences and guard your vulnerabilities. Because what is holy never harms.